Who was the killer of the tie? In today's episode of The Fashion Detective, we're going to investigate and deep dive into this matter that is missing from our necks. From all your necks, even you that you're watching. This item that once was a staple of men's fashion and office wear is missing from our necks. Who saw it? When did you saw it lately? Where is the damn tie? And we're going to study on why the tie is less seen in the public today than in the past. And disclaimer, I know y'all fashion online lovers will drag me by my wig, but I'm saying in the public. This is a social study on why the tie is less seen out and about in the streets. So let's dive into the decline of ties. In today's video, I'm going into this underrated item in men's fashion, which started with a rise, then went on a decline, and then again in the present day we are seeing a resurgence, with the tie being a popular option for women's wear and men's wear. So let's dive into this phenomena that is missing or is getting the spotlight again on our necks, the decline of ties. So let's start from the beginning. There are some speculations on the origin of the tie. Some say it could come from the Romans because of the depiction on the column of Traiano, that in reality it was just a piece of fabric tied around the neck. So before the tie there was the handkerchief. To dive into the origins of the tie, we have to go back to the 1600s, when Croatian mercenaries that were in France during the 30 Years' War were wearing neckerchiefs that were knotted, and the people of Paris were really impressed, like, ooh la la, those neckerchiefs are tight, mon frère, très joli. My French is not Frenching, but so what did Louis XVI do? Well, he copied the style and called it la cravate. Around the 1700s, stocks will mark their impact, which were in leather and worn by soldiers. The cravat will come back again thanks to the macaronis, English people bringing fashion ideas. Neclotitania or Neclotania, I don't know how to pronounce it, but well, it's a book where there are instructions on how to tie 14 different cravats. So, if you knew how to tie cravat back then, you were certainly wealthy, that's for sure. Then, in the middle of the 1800s, the scarf came to take the cravat place. Then, in the late 1800s, during the Industrial Revolution, more guys wanted an easier neckwear accessory that would stay on the entire day. So, the predecessors of ties were worn by college students in Oxford that will get some lace from their straw hats and create a knot that will mark the birth of the klep necktie. Then, those ties will spread across colleges in the UK with different colors associated to each college. So the first tie was created in 1870. The first pattern tie was the Macclesfield tie, named from a small town in Great Britain. Theodore Roosevelt will be the first US president to rock a tie in 1903. Okay, Theo, you weren't coming to the White House to play. I say ya, my dude. The ascot tie was another popular option at the time, which was worn for dinners or at races. Jess Langsdorff is a dude that we should all be grateful for, like seriously, because in 1922 he will come up with a method of making ties that were more durable. And you will tell me how? Well, by cutting diagonally in the bias and sewing it in 3 segments. After the First World War, tie became pretty common. Ties were worn shorter since the trousers were high-rise, and after the Second World War, ties became wider and bolder. This movement was called the bold look, which inspired designs from Art Deco, pin-up girls, nature, and tropical themes. It was hot until the 1950s when the Mr. T look came in, and ties got thinner, with designs that were more low-key and plain, until the 1960s. Solid ties would be more worn during the 60s, and then, in the late 60s, ties got wider and fun again. The example of the keeper tie that became popular in Britain, that actually was popular at first in the 1940s with the people that were wearing zoot suits, so in the Afro-American and Mexican community. They will last until the early 1970s. Then ties got thinner again. In In the 1980s, we will see the introduction of funky and extravagant ties designs like keyboards and palm trees. Other ties also with cartoon characters, pop culture, and ads products. In the 90s, this trend will continue and the tie got even longer. Actually, ties saw their peak in the 90s with 110 million ties sold in the whole wide world. Now, I see why thrifters are full of ties. It totally makes sense. Ties that were a staple of workwear will start to reduce their impact. In the 2000s, we saw ties embraced by the alternative and pop punk movement, with acts like Avril Lavigne and Billie Joe Armstrong rocking them. At the end of the decade, ties got narrow again, around 2008-2009. In the 2010s, ties weren't common as before, but then in the 2020s they came and bada boom, ties were back again, being a trendy fashion items, with guys trying to first style the ties from their dads and granddads, and then purchasing them at thrift stores and flea markets, thanks to trends like old money and eclectic grandpa making the rounds on the internet. After deep diving into the history of this neck accessory and item that was a staple in men's fashion, I'm going to leave you to our fashion historian Zachary Brown. He is going to discover which theories led to the decline of ties. Fashion historian, take the turn. So, welcome back. I'm your fashion historian Zachary Brown, and today we're going to investigate on why ties are on the decline, in the public sphere. I'm not saying the fashion online discourse, because if not, you will drag me by the car. So let's start. Wait, hold up. The presentation is excellent, my guy. Oh really? Yeah, I love the color choice, the title, the pictures, and it's bigger too. Oh really? I appreciate it a lot. Like, you see, it's more colorful, there are more words, the images are popping. Like, I've put a lot of work in this presentation, my guy. Yeah, I know. I'm the one that asked for the raise. So you asked for the raise? Oh my god, that's insane. Thank you so much. Yeah, no problem at all. Continue with your work. Thank you again. So, where were we? We were talking about not my dinner or my lunch today. We were talking about, yes, ties, sorry. We're talking about the decline of ties. So through my internet and my research, I discovered 4 different theories for the decline of ties. Why the ties are not seen lately as before in the past. So those are my 4 theories, as you can see. And in this big presentation, we're going to see which theories cause the decline of ties. So let's start with our first theory, that is, yes, it's Dwight from The Office. Why? Because our first theory is all about the decline of office wear. Well, the first thing that comes to mind when you think about ties, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Actually, usually it is the office, the power suit, business, Wall Street, business, Wall Street again, maybe rich, money, wealth, Wall Street. Well, according to recent studies made by Axios, only the 3% of workers go with the business attire at their work. And that's insane, my fellas, that's insane, because before, the business attire was an essential part of a man's wardrobe. The dress code was more strict. You required a tie, a suit, a good made suit, and also maybe a fedora to go to the office. So nowadays, with the increase of working from home, you don't need a tie anymore. You can just stay in your PJs and do your work. Or even if you go to the office, you can go more casually, maybe also with some jeans, with your pullover, your sweater, like really chill. So the business attire is not required anymore, and that's why ties are not seen anymore in public spaces, because of the decline of office wear. And already after the 2000s, the business attire was on decline, and especially in 2020 during the pandemic, like the business attire was gone, like everyone was working from home. After the pandemic also, the dress code got more chill. No business attire at the office. You can work from home. If you come to the office, you can come in a more casual style. So The business attire decline caused also the death of ties in public spaces. And before I go to the second theory, like the peak of business attire was the 1980s with the power suits. Wow, those damn power suits are so damn cool with the shoulders and the cut of the suits. Like the power suits were powering, my fellas. This was the peak of the business attire, and then from there we went on the decline that we see also today. So you can go to the office more casually with more freedom. In my opinion, that's really good because you can go to the office more chill. You can dress however you like, almost like you can dress with your personal style and go at the office with more chill. But honestly, I also miss those office looks. I'm not gonna lie, I miss the business attire. So let me tell ya. So some words that are connected to the first theory are Tie Tuesday. Do you know what is Tie Tuesday? Well, it's a job practice where every single Tuesday the tie was a must in your outfit. Like even if you were wearing a casual outfit, like the tie must have been part of the outfit every single Tuesday. So that's why it's called Tie Tuesday. And also there was a variant with the bow tie, but I don't remember the day, but there was a bow tie day also. And yes, that's why it's related to this theory. Also office because of the office and business, of course. And then because the tie, when you wear a tie, it means business, like for real. So let's move on with the second theory, that is, who is this group? Those are the who. And why are they important? Because they come from a certain decade. This decade is the 60s. Damn! The 60s are always the fault of the decline of clothing items. What's going on here? If you didn't watch the other two episodes, like I will leave them somewhere up or down below, because the 60s are always the damn fault. Even this time, we're going 3 for a 3. The 60s are the main cause of the decline of ties. And you will tell me why. Because in the 60s there was the style revolution. Also we see the rise of teens fashion that was already rising in the late 1950s. But with the 60s we have the boom of teens fashion. So the tie had to go on the chopping block because the tie is related with business wear, adulthood. Like young people wanted to differentiate themselves from their parents. So the tie had to go, like bye bye, see you later, or maybe never. So with new styles and trends coming in, the tie will lose its relevance during the 60s. And after the 60s, the tie was on a decline. Although it was still used, I'm not saying that it was not used, but the tie was on a decline and was not common as before because of the 60s and the style revolution that is here. And the words connected to the second theory are 60s and revolution because of the style revolution. Let's move on the third theory that is very linked to the first theory, as you can see. So the third theory is the rise of casual wear, and that's why ties are no more. With the rise of casual wear that started, I think, in the 60s, but if you want to be more precise, I think you can see more casual wear in the 70s and then 80s. And then 90s, like casual wear was everywhere. So with the rise of casual wear, like ties weren't trendy anymore. Ties were still worn, don't get me wrong, like don't get it twisted, but with the rise of casual wear we see less ties, and the peak of ties, as I told you before, was in the early 90s. And yes, after that we have a decline of ties and casual wear was booming. Like until today, casual wear is still the king in terms of clothing, and you don't see ties as often. Actually, not really, because online I see ties having a resurgence in the online fashion discourse, but still, when you go outside on the streets, you don't see ties anymore. So that's why with the rise of casual wear, ties were less and less frequent, and that's why also with the rise of casual wear, there is also the decline of ties. Then let's move on the fourth theory and the last theory for today, that is, this fella has a lot of style. Don't get it twisted, my fellas. There's a lot of style. But common discourse is that the tie is old, not trendy, uncool, cringe, not hot, just for dads and granddads. Like, are you serious, my guy? Are you serious right now? business people, and the ties are uncomfortable as hell. I don't know how to tie a tie. They're not for me. They're not the hit right now. I don't like them. The ties are not essential. They're uncool. They're not hot. They're cold as hell. They're not sick. Yes, you get it. You get the gist. So the ties are linked to old people, and that's why the ties have not worn anymore. They have this negative stereotype that I don't really like, because ties, I think they're a really cool option for your wardrobe, and they are really a cheap option also for your wardrobe. Like, I think this tie, I got it for 50 cents, yes, at the thrift store, so that's cool. And so because of this stereotype and assumptions on the tie, that's why we have the decline of ties, because of this stereotype that is old, outdated, is cringe, is not cool anymore. So, hope you enjoyed this episode of The Fashion Detective, and we're going to see you on the next episode. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you will know when I put my next episode out and my next video out. So, in the next episode of The Fashion Detective, we're going to discover the disappearance of another staple in men's fashion. Actually, not really disappearance, but it's not that common as before. It's not the style choice you do every single day. It's something that is a staple, guys. It's a staple, but I can't spoil it. So I will see ya very, very soon, my fellas. Ha! Don't go away yet, because we are in the bonus section of this video, where, as you can see, there are some important figures on this presentation of people wearing ties, some important stars that we're going to discover right now. So let's play a little game, shall we? So this time the pictures are in high resolution, my fellas. They are really, really clear. So kudos to me. Let's start. So the first one is this fella here. Yeah, it's not easy. He was a famous actor, especially in the 30s and 40s. He is Gary Cooper. Let's go on the next one. That is, yes, this fella right here is an important figure in basketball. He has an immaculate style. Pat Riley. Yes, Pat Riley, a basketball coach. Then the next one, it should be easy if you are in the music scene, of course. If you like music, you should know this artist. Actually, you're pretty similar right now, also with the style, so. Tyler, the Creator. Let's move on the next one, that is an important movie star from the 80s and 90s, and also now. An heartthrob, a sex symbol, Richard Gere. Let's move on to the next one, that is actually one of my absolute idols of all time. Like, I think I became fan of this man like around when I was, I think, 14 or 13, something like that. And from then my passion didn't stop anymore. So, who is this guy? He comes from a famous rock band. Actually, punk and pop punk band. Billy Joe Armstrong, the king of ties in the alternative scene for me. The king, the absolute king. Then the next one is, wait a damn second, I think this guy and this guy are the same guy. Let me check. This one. I think so. Oh my god. Actually, I'm not sure if they are the same guy, because I took those pictures from Pinterest, but there was no name under this picture, so I don't know which guy is the guy. If it's the same guy as the guy I told you before. So I don't know, but I will let you figure it out. If you got all of them, You will get 6 stars out of 6. And that's it, my fellows. I will see y'all on the next one.